Ahoy hoy, and welcome to Up for Discussion. This is a superhero hub. I'm Sam,
Matt.
holla, and today has been a big news day for everyone who knows the Injustice 2 story trailer has whoosh, dropped. Opinions? Wait, did you say you're Matt?
I am. Yeah.
You went, okay, go ahead. You just saw the story trailer.
Um. Yeah. I don't think there was much to the story. I don't. I thought it just kind of repeated what the first one was, except now Superman's out. I guess I thought it was cool. I didn't mind it, but I don't think it really revealed too much about the story as much as it recapped the first one.
I think basically what's going to happen, because obviously, if Brainiac was running, Brainiac clearly, for all I watched, is the one doing the voiceover, running his trap about everything. So I figure he must be getting some sort of team together to break Superman out, or he breaks Superman out himself. But it's like, why wouldn't he just leave him all tucked away? Unless he'll need him to destroy the other Superman. Like, because where is Superman now? I think they took Superman from that universe and put him in like the normal universe. So now they're stuck with an angry Superman. Why wouldn't they just send him to the Phantom Zone? You know what I mean? That's my issue. Um, so
Because
new
plot.
new characters introduced. Obviously, we've got Poison Ivy. Whether she'll be playable, I mean, she's got to be playable, right? I mean, it's pretty
Yeah, sure. Be in
interesting.
the trailer for.
It's pretty interesting. She's a playable character, but I mean, should be pretty good. I mean, as you can remember in the first Injustice, you kind of in the Arkham Asylum levels, you had a little jail cell in the corner. So, I mean, if they're gonna elude, they might as well bring her in. Brainiac, he's a new playable character. See, he should be pretty decent, I think. I think it is kind of like a wild card in the sense that he'll probably be like, if you look, you're playing the game, you go to the player correct selection screen. He's probably gonna be the best looking one there. You know what I mean? I mean, if I'm playing that game, apart from Darkseid, I'd probably go for Brainiac. And he kind of, you see a bit of his face. He kind of looks decent. I think he's going to look pretty good. I can't wait for the individual gameplay trailer for him. Obviously, the pre-order bonus is going to be Darkseid. That's pretty decent because obviously he was in the mobile game and he looked pretty sick there. So obviously this one obviously is more updated. He looks sick. He's got the burning eyes, the kind of cool apocalyptic armor. I thought he looked damn decent. You know what I mean? So literally, he'll probably be the character I'll bum off. I'll bum off him, and I'll probably bum off Brainiac as well. But you know, other characters could drop. I figure Doctor Fate's got to drop. I figure he has to be a playable character, and it'd be dumb for.
Why?
Well, because if the thing with Injustice, it kind of what it was, you kind of split the characters up into um, like skill and power. So like when you interacted with stuff, it was either you backflipped off it or you picked it up and you threw it. So there's a differentiation between skill characters like Catwoman, Nightwing, and then you have the power characters like Shazam, Superman, like the kind of ones you'd associate with super strength and stuff like that, and then the kind of skill set. So I figure what they should kind of that mixed it up, because there wasn't really, apart from Shazam, Black Adam, and Zatanna, there wasn't really any.
Apart from three of them, there wasn't really any magical people.
Yeah, I was about to say there weren't really much like differentiation between the magical people. So I mean, yeah, I'd throw. Yeah, but that's like saying the majority of the characters were like, you know what I mean, split into them two character sets. But if you wanted to kind of embellish a bit, then you'd have like a magical character thing. I mean, you'd mix it. Are you really going to stick with them two characters? Because think the problem The problem with fighting games are, do you know, like the super moves? Yeah, they're pretty cool, but they've only got one super move, so the majority of the fights you're gonna have, you're gonna slap them up if you want to mix it up using Heart's moves. But ultimately, it's all gonna run down to doing that same super move. Now, if you have like 100 battles, it means odds are you've used like the super move like 100 times. It's like it kind of gets boring, doesn't it?
Yes, but I think you're reaching with Doctor Fate.
I think
He's an obscure character. I don't think they'll go
I'd
for it.
put money on him being confirmed. I will put money. I bet you a tenner before that game comes out. He's a playable character.
Deal.
Yeah, because trust me, he will be. But what I'd like to see is like more than one super power attack. You know what I mean? Because like, yeah, Superman's cool. Like in the first one, he punches a guy and then smacks him back down. But that is kind of samey. You know what I mean? And that's what it's like with the Mortal Kombat. Like all the fighting games, it's like the one power attack. It's like
Well,
take your time and do like and kind of do animations for about 10 super power attacks to kind of mix it up a bit. I mean, even two, like mix it up.
Mortal Kombat has more than one nowadays.
No, like X-ray. Theirs is like X-ray. This is like super move. When the bar
No,
falls to
but
the
no,
top.
they're a bit. No, no, it's more. It's not X-ray. It's their version of fatalities, isn't it?
No, it's X-ray.
No,
That's what I mean. When your bar fills to the top, you press both triggers back. It does
yes,
the X-ray. But that's what I
but
mean. There's
the
only like one.
but what?
Fatalities are at the end. At the end of the game. I mean, I'm talking about
Yeah,
during the
but
game.
that's what it's in place of, really, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's their
Instead,
big super move.
it's
So
X-ray.
they normally have X-ray is a new thing. They've always had fatality. It doesn't matter. But the point is,
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat now incorporates plenty of them, so they'll probably do it for this game as well. I think Bane was in the preview. I think I saw him, unless I'm making that up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're
It's like
going they're going heavy on the Batman villains. It'll be interesting to see with Brainiac what they do with the origin.
heavy on the Batman villains. All they did, the only new introduction for in terms of Batman villains is Poison Ivy. Is more
And Bane
is
and
yeah,
Joker.
yeah. But Bane was in the first one. Bane was in the first one. The Joker was in. I'm talking about new editions.
That's still heavy on Batman villains. Not I'm complaining, I like Batman, but that's
Well,
more than anyone else has got.
well, okay. Deadshot's in there. Harley Quinn's in there. Um, But then you'll have Doomsday in there. You got Brainiac in there. You got Darkseid in there. You've got Lex Luthor in there. I mean, saying heavy like that, it's always going to be Batman and Superman heavy characters. But then you've got Gorilla Grodd in there, because I don't think in the first one there wasn't really. I think there were no Flash villains in there, truth be told. I mean, now you've got Gorilla Grodd in there, so I think they're kind of at least having one like alter character for each, like whatever. You
Well,
got
also in the years since the first one, the Flash TV show has come on as well, isn't it? So it's a bit more popular now.
mm, you got who else? Blue Beetle's in there, even though he hasn't really got kind of an alter.
Which one is it?
Um, I figure the kid. I forget what the kid's called.
What, Jamie Reyes or whatever his name is? The
Yeah, I
new one.
figure it's that one. Or back to basics. It would just be they probably would. It would just be like Blue Beetle. You know what I mean? You probably never see him without his helmet, so they won't need to dig into that.
You should be able to notice the difference. If they're going to do a story, I think they'll touch on it, but it'll probably be a new one.
You got. I mean, in the first one you had Sinestro and Green Lantern. In this one you got Atrocitus as well, who looks pretty decent. You know what I mean? I thought that'd be pretty good. I figure that. I mean, see, that's like saying you said Doctor Fate is not really a well-known character. Well, how well-known is Atrocitus? You know what I mean?
True.
I mean, fair enough if you had a lineup between kind of Green Lantern villains. I mean, if you didn't go with Parallax, you'd kind of be stuck between either having Larfleeze or Atrocitus or Parallax. I mean, you got to pick one of them. So I mean, at least Atrocitus kind of looks. I think they're kind of going for like kind of edgy looking ones. You know what I mean? Like Brainiac looks a bit edgy. You've got big Gorilla Grodd with his stuff. You got Blue Beetle. You know what I mean? So um, I really think I don't think there'll be any like surprises. I think between now and I think the release dates in like June or either April or June. I don't think there'll be any surprises. I mean, they won't wait until like, oh, the game's out, and then everyone's, oh my god, whoever's in it, I didn't know they were in it. I didn't see the gameplay. I think they'll pretty much between now and then they'll give up the majority of the characters. I mean, you've got to figure that all the characters from the original one will probably be in there, but they'll just have a bigger character roster. I mean, which is good, you know what I mean? Because if you go back to like, it should have like a kind of Tekken size roster, you know what I mean? Like about 20, 30 characters, as opposed to like 15 or something like that. There should be like a ton of characters because it's like replay factor. So there should be like they'll probably throw in DLC characters as well. They'll probably I don't much care for like I don't think there should be a Mortal Kombat character in there. I know they put Scorpion in there last time, but I mean, if you're gonna go for a DLC character, go outside the box. Like put in someone like from a DC property, which is not like DC Comics. You know what I mean? Put in someone like. Well, not it's strictly DC Comics in terms of superhero character. Throw someone in from like the Watchmen or something. Put in
Or they are in.
Rorschach or
They
Doctor
are
Manhattan.
DC Comics characters now, anyway.
Yeah, but you like out of that kind of thing, you know what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying, but I just bet now they've been incorporated into it anyway, so you might as well go for it.
Yeah, there's a crossover now, isn't
yeah,
there? In the
Doctor
rebirth,
Manhattan.
because they've got the little button. Was it? This is kind of turned into just an injustice too. But I think moving away from that now, the second big news story would be the. I know this is something that's very close to your heart, being a big fan. I think Harley Quinn has been announced, or a precursor to Harley Quinn has been announced for Gotham. So apparently she's going to pop up in the season finale. See, people are kind of up in arms because the consensus is Bruce is like 12 or 13. I don't think they've actually talked about his age for a while, and there's been distance between the times. So I think they need to actually remind him how old he is, or have an episode where they have a birthday so people know how old he is. Because I figure he's got to be, I'd say it's about 14 now. It's just the fact they ain't talked about it for a while. But you got to bear in mind, like in between with the season finales and the season premiere, the majority of the time is like say 6 months later and stuff like that. So I think from like the premiere, I think about 2 or 3 years have passed. So obviously people are up in arms, like, oh yeah, by the time Bruce Wayne's Batman and is doing his thing, Harley Quinn's only like about 20, like early 20s. So it's like, how can they have like a Harley Quinn in Gotham when he's only like, technically she should be like 1 or 2 years old? Obviously, I see how that makes sense, because if you look at, say you put Harley Quinn and like a couple years older than Robin, now you've got to look at it as like Robin kind of hasn't been born yet. If you go back to season 1, which is the episode where Jerome's first introduced, you got not Richard Grayson, the dad Grayson and the girl from the other circus troupe. You got them two, so technically I'd say about now probably Robin's been conceived and maybe been born, so I figure it's like a couple months old. So obviously you're gonna have to wait 10 years to actually see like, I mean 20 years to see like a proper Dick Grayson, so why should you see that and have a Harley Quinn? But the problem is there's emphasis on the word precursor. See, now if you look at that, maybe you could have like a mum or something. You had like Richard Sionis in like the first season of Gotham, where you had him, and obviously you've got to figure that his son, even though we weren't mentioned or seen or anything like that, his son is Roman, and he hasn't been featured yet. I mean, I'd pretty much say, I mean, move kind of, let's morph it together, you know what I mean, two into one, where kind of Jerome, I figure, is definitely the Joker now, because in the latest episode, which aired last night, you've got people going around with buttons where it's like two eyes and then it's like a ha ha ha, but it's like in the style of like little ha to like in the space of like a red smile. And in the preview for this episode, you've got him kind of with the scar along his head and round his eyes, and you've got him white. I figure it's makeup, you know what I mean? Whether they'll do like him stained or whatever, anything like that, from being brought back from the dead, which I think's doubtful. I figure it's just like makeup, because you had a bunch of people in like a room kind of watching his video, and they kind of had like the red smile, like grease painted on, and like the white faces. So it's going to be kind of that kind of style, because you see in the preview where he's got like white face and like the red, like obvious like smile, like bits like here and here where it's like proper red, so he's got the smile on. So I'd say he's pretty much confirmed to be the Joker. And obviously you got Clayface came back, so is kind of featured a bit, because I figure most people kind of forgot about him, but Basil Carlo's in it, and it's kind of like there's like a reference where it's like, oh yeah, I kind of, the voice was a little off, you know what I mean? So it's definitely like actor Basil Carlo, like Clayface from the comics. Apparently Solomon Grundy is meant to pop up near the end of the season as well. So however that fits in. I know you're a big fan of Gotham, but tell me what you think about Harley Quinn. Let's stick to the facts as well.
Harley Quinn, when Batman
Nice to meet ya.
is a teenager, this is so stupid. I'm up for interpretation. I think they should be allowed to do what they want to do within reason. But a Batman show about a Batman, to me, is idiotic. And this is just pushing it. See, not only, okay, if Jerome is the Joker, first of all, I don't want to know who the Joker is. Secondly, I don't want to see him hanging around with Harley Quinn before Batman shows up.
It's a precursor. Who says it's actually going to be Harley
How
Quinn?
is it a precursor?
For all you know, it could be like a mum or something like that.
That's even worse.
Why? Why can't there be references? Because
everyone's mum and dad is popping up.
yeah, well, it's before Batman, so what do you expect?
Stupid.
I think
Stupid is what it is.
I think you're not willing to. You're very conservative, and I think you need to be a little more liberal. I mean, let's not get into politics now, but if you look at it like that,
No.
you're very constitutionalist. I mean, you've got your Batman universe, and you don't want it to change.
Because
You
it's
know,
Batman.
if too
Like,
much
Batman
change,
universe has Batman in it.
yeah,
This
but
show
it's
does
got to
not.
evolve and
Stupid.
mix up. It can't be exactly like the comics. I mean, it's open for interpretation. You know what
I
I mean?
absolutely agree, but this is taking the mick.
I,
Up for interpretation. He's not Batman. He's a child.
yeah,
This
but
is ridiculous.
is
And
Bruce Wayne?
the whole
Is
premise
Bruce
of the show
Wayne?
is stupid anyway. Because you set up, your protagonist is what? Jim Gordon. So he's set up for failure.
Well,
There's no way he can
no,
succeed.
because how do you know? How
Because
do you
if Jim
know?
Gordon succeeds, there will never be a Batman because he would have cleaned up the streets of Gotham, but he's not going to do it, is he? He
No,
can't.
but the point is,
Failure.
in 6, 7 years, you know, the show's called Gotham. It's not called Gordon. You know what I mean? Like, the protagonist at the minute is James Gordon, but how do you know, like, 5, 6 years down the line when Brucey grows up a bit? You know what I mean? I think it's more of a transitional show. So you're not looking at it like that. It's a transitional show, and what it's going to be. Say it runs for 10 seasons and goes on for like the next 6, 7 years. It's going to transition from Jim Gordon being the protagonist to him kind of passing on the reins and Bruce Wayne
I don't care about the end of the show.
and then
I
him
don't
switching
care
onto it.
about the end of the show.
No, I'm
I
not
care
saying at
about
the end of the show. I'm
itself.
saying halfway through the show.
You're talking about transition. It's not halfway through the show.
How
It's not going to go for 20 years, is it?
How do you know?
This is the
How
show
do you know
now.
it's not going to
This
go
is
for
the
20
show it's
years?
gonna be. No way.
How do you know?
It's going to go for 20 years.
How
There's
do you
no-
know?
Look at the ratings.
Yeah, but how do you know the
I'm
ratings?
sure they're
How do you
okay.
know the ratings
but
ain't
there's
going to
no
go
way
up?
they're going to sustain. It's not going to happen.
If
That's
it
not what happens on television.
if it transitions well and goes well, how do you know it's not going to transition into like say it holds 5 million viewers consistently? You're telling me they ain't going to run it for the next 10 years? At
Well, not
least.
hold back. That's not how TV works.
I'm telling you, it can transition
It
easily.
can't. It
Okay,
won't
so what they
happen.
do is they run it, and then they run it for like I think it will hit 10 seasons easy. So they run it for 10 seasons. They stop it at that. They wait 3 or 4 years for the kid to grow up, and then they bring it back. Same title, same everything. They bring it back, and instead of Jim Gordon being the main protagonist, they switch it. So Bruce Wayne's the main protagonist, and Jim Gordon's like backup secondary character.
Right, and all his villains are old.
Yeah.
Yeah, stupid. Why
How
do I
is
want
that
to see Batman
stupid?
beating up old men and women?
Old
That's
men and women
ridiculous.
like what? Penguin's gonna be about the actor who plays him's gonna be about 40. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and Batman's 20. That
No,
doesn't make sense.
I think you're just not. I think you're just. You know what? You're stuck in your ways.
I'm
You,
not stuck in my ways at all. I think they've made a stupid conceit for a show. If you were going to do it, don't have him be so young. It should have been. They should have done the origin, then skipped forward a few years. At least then you could know. All right, 4 or 5 years down the line, he can be Batman on the show. Great, then go for it. Not
see,
this way. It's
see,
too much. It's
you,
too long, and his villains are all going to be too old.
you
And I
want
don't want to see everyone's mother and everyone's father. That's stupid.
you just want it to be a Batman show.
Yes, I
It's
do.
it's
I
a, it's
want Batman.
it's about Gotham, not Batman. That's your problem.
Lame.
You want
There
it to
is
be
no
about
Gotham
you.
without Batman.
You're so in love with Batman, the idea of Batman, that
It
you
is
can
Batman.
you don't want it to be anyone else.
It's
Like
like,
if there
it's
was
like you know,
if there
that's
was a
like that was.
Nightwing show on TV, you'd be like, oh, where's Bruce Wayne? Where's Bruce Wayne?
No,
You'll be sitting there scratching your arm waiting for
no, I wouldn't.
Batman to show up. Like, I want to see Batman. I
No,
want there to be
I
Batman
would.
references.
No,
You're out
no,
of
you
control.
speak before me now.
You're out of
That's not what I
control.
said at all.
Okay,
I never
then
say that. I never said that when I watched Supergirl. I didn't think the show was very good, but I wasn't desperately waiting for Superman. I was
yeah,
glad
but
it showed
the
up.
only
No.
episodes you watched of the second season is the one when Superman popped up. As soon as
Yeah,
Superman
but I
left, you
watched
stopped
right.
watching.
They were the first two episodes
Hashtag
of the
Batty
second
Grease.
season, and I watched all of the
Hashtag
first
Batty
season.
Grease.
No, you're just making things up. If I don't like your stupid little show, you're being a little girl. Yeah,
It's not about that. I'm
someone
not bothered if you
criticised your
don't like it.
first
I'm
good
just
show.
saying you're cutting
That's
off your
fine.
nose despite your
No,
face.
no.
You're being a
I watched
constitutionalist. You're
the
being very
season and
conservative.
I don't
You're
like
being
it.
very conservative. So
Just because someone doesn't like your show,
it is a good show.
it's
You've got
stupid.
problems.
It's not a good
If you
show.
watched it,
Badly
you'd get
written.
into
If
it.
it was better written, I'd like it. It's a bad show.
You've just got too much of a hard on for Batman. You want to see Bruce Wayne
It's
topless,
Batman.
and you know Bruce Wayne's not going to be topless because he's too young. So you're waiting for a 30-year-old Batman with a hairy chest. Right,
No,
let's move
surely
on
that's
to
a good thing, isn't it?
let's move on to the last topic, which is updating the Flash news. Apparently, Eddie Thawne's going to be coming back in season 3. Obviously, you've had recent news if you watched the video. Ronnie Raymond's Firestorm is going to be back for season 3. Obviously, now we've got Eddie Thawne coming back as well. Your thoughts?
Oh, well, whatever it is, I don't think it's going to be long term. Um, I haven't kept up with the actor's show, so I don't know what he left to do something, didn't he? I think he got cast in another role. I don't know what it was. I don't know if he's still playing that role, but I just don't see Eddie coming back long term. I think they may be back in the same episode. Since they apparently died during the same event, maybe it's a flashback.
Yeah, I figure it would be a flashback or like a hallucination or something like that. You know how that stuff kind of gets, where he's like visited by ghosts and stuff. Even though there'd be no point because he didn't really make that much of an impact for that to happen. So details are sketchy right now, but later in the season, he is set to pop up. So that is your latest breaking news. I've been Sam,
I've been Matt.
and we'll see you in the next episode. Holla!